Ah, shalom. Good to see you guys. Shalom, Gary, Jeff, Harrison. We're the top three here, all Americans. Although I think Harrison is in Thailand right now, right? Jeff in Florida and Gary in Arkansas. Oh, wait, you were traveling somewhere. Are you back yet? Shalom, Brenda. Whoa, top four here are Americans. The first four from Alabama. Wonderful. Betty. Betty, you're Canadian, right? I always forget if you're Canadian or British. The problem is I think we have two Bettys, so that kind of throws me. Usually I just remember people by their first name. You guys hear me okay? How's the audio? I'm using my lapel today. Hey, we have a minion. Great. It's not very clear on the TV, Pay says. Well, YouTube will no longer let us broadcast live at 4K like they used to. So I'm sending it to you at 2K, at 1440p, right? So it's not going to be as clear as the 4K, but it should be clear enough. I'm not sure. Is everybody else seeing it okay, or is it blurry? A wee bit muffled, huh? Okay. Okay, I cranked it up. Let me know if that's any better, okay? If that helps with the muffling at all. Okay, maybe I won't crank it up. Keep it down where it was. Maybe I'll turn it down a bit. How about that? Let me know if that's better. Okay, Gary said it sounded good. I didn't know if it sounded good when I cranked it up or when I cranked it back down. So tell me now. Is it better now? Better? Okay. All right. Yeah, keep the comments flowing because I'm on the computer lately. I've been doing it on the tablet. Pre, you know, I pre-recorded tonight, and then like there was no audio on it. Oh, head and face. So I thought, well, maybe Hashem wanted us to be live, wanted us to try live. So this is part two, take two. But it's okay now, Harrison. How's the audio? Is the audio muffled still, or is it better now, guys? So I know which way to go with. Hey, Shalom, Jan Animations. Oh, so glad you're feeling better. Baruch Hashem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher shome'at tefillah. It was back up. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to up. Okay, gonna go back. Gonna go back. Now, how's that now? Is it muffled or is it better now? Sorry for those of you watching this after the fact. Just usually in the week, I'm not going live. We're doing premieres, and I'm using the lapel microphone instead of. Turn this fan too. The noise reduction might be dealing with the fan a bit. I'll just make it so it just kind of grazes the side of me. Better? Okay, good. Good, Baruch Hashem. Maybe I'll move it a bit closer to me also. Maybe that'll help. All right, all right. Still good? Okay, still got bounce. All right, Avinu Malkeinu, Toda Lecha. כן יהי רצון כי לקחנו יחיה טוב בעיניך. בי אדוני, תשלח נא את רוחך עלינו, כי אנחנו רוצים לראות את פניך. אנחנו רוצים ללמוד טוב את כל דברי תורתך. לעולנו ולך יחיה כל הכבוד. All right, let's do this. So today we are continuing with our directed Hebrew immersion in the book of Exodus, chapter 29. And let's see. We are on verse 17. I have the legend of what the colors kind of mean over here on the left. Now, today, you can, if you're an auditory learner, you can close your eyes. You don't have to look at what we're doing. If you're a visual learner, well, yeah, I got all kinds of visual stuff for you going on. Hopefully, you can see and appreciate that. Whichever way is fine. And if you're a visual learner or like a mixed learner and you get through it all okay and you're understanding, and then we go to repeat it again, I recommend you try closing your eyes or just not looking to kind of expand into another dimension your understanding of the Hebrew. That can help quite a bit, actually. And it does wonders for memory as well. If you've already understood with your short-term memory and then you hear it, or vice versa, if you're an auditory learner and you've been getting it with auditory, open your eyes. Take the red pill and see what's there. And maybe that'll work. Thank you. Harrison loves the colors. Great. Yeah, verse 17 is pretty big, Pay, because there's fewer words, so I was able to blow it up a bit. All right. Only one apology. I've got an apology for the font on the text that I'm using to be able to colorize it this way. For some reason, this happens with Times font. Sometimes the O and the Holenvav will get pushed over like this. So sorry for that. I don't really have a solution to that yet. But yeah, okay. All right, so I will cant it through the first time as kind of our survey, all right? And then we'll go into it in more detail. There, tenatei'ach nithi'ach, ורחצת kirbo ukhra'aiv, ונתת נתחיו rosho. Okay, so it's kind of a mouthful there at the end. Rosho. All right. Now, the first thing you might notice, we have a little bit of emphasis happening here because the verb doesn't happen until we get over here. We have our verb, right? And usually the object comes after the verb, the thing that the verb is acting on, right? Like if I hit the ball is the object, right? I am the subject, I'm the one doing the verb, and hit is the verb, okay? In this case, we have our object is coming first. And in Tanachit, in biblical Hebrew, when the object comes first, oh, we have a delay, interesting. When we have an object first, I'm done drawing. Oh, that wasn't too bad. That usually implies special emphasis, right? So there's some kind of emphasis, like don't mess up these directions, or this guy, not that guy, something like that. The exceptions are, one, if it's poetry, right? So in the Psalms, all bets are off. And two, if you're answering a question, like someone said, who hit the ball? And you say, the ball was hit by me. Okay, that's not actually special emphasis. You're just answering the question. We're kind of almost, the syntax in Hebrew, in biblical Hebrew, is to expect the object earlier than anyway. But if not, then there's emphasis. And I usually use magenta for emphasis. Let me add that to our legend over here. Emphasis. Someone must have prayed. There's no delay now. Thank you for that. Hey, welcome, Mentat Assassin. Kenneth. Oh, yeah, you came in before. All right. Some others have piled in. Great, great. Rolled in. All right. So, ve'et ayil. Now, or and the ayil, the round, that you shall nateach. This verb natach, you notice there's a dagesh there in the middle. This guy only exists in the piel in the Bible. We only ever see it in this form where we have a dagesh in the second root letter word here, right? And it means to chop to pieces, like to chop meat into pieces. Some say quarters, to quarter it, right? I think Rashi interprets it as quartering. So, you shall nateach, chop up into pieces, or quarter. And then we have the same root here. Lengthening. Netachim means pieces of meat or quarters. So, le, two or four, the netachim of O, so into its quarters. So you shall chop it up into quarters. You shall, quarter it into quarters or chop it into pieces. Right? Only used with meat. That verb, to nateach, only used with meat. Hey, shalom, Michael. You're very welcome. Glad to have you here. I'm glad we're live, actually. It's nice chatting with you when we have the premiere, but it's not quite the same as live, right? As live. It's like we're all really sitting together. All right. Also on the computer, I can do the knobs and zoom in like that a bit easier. Kind of nice. Continuing. ורחצת, or ורחצת. So here again we have the to, just like the to at the beginning of the other verb, color-coded to remind you that this is showing you what the person form of the verb is. That's you. Okay, you. So rachatz, tzadi, if you're just listening, you don't have to worry about the color codings, is to wash. Rachatz to is washed, you, right? You washed. But then we have our special vav conversive. For those visual learners, it's kind of a glowing neon on the screen. Hey, how's the image? Is it clearer now? Was it an internet issue, or is it that it's 1440p on a TV? So this guy changes the aspect. So if rachatzta is you washed, then ve rachatzta is you will wash, right? This is a way to kind of give a command too. You will do that, young man. You will wash, right? Not saying wash, just the comparative, but you will wash. Feel. So this word is kerev. If you're just listening, it's kof, reish, beit, or some call that kuf, reish, beit, which is from the verb, related to the verbal root karav, which is to approach or to come near. Well, what's about the nearest you can get to something? Inside of it. So kerev are the innards, the kishki, the kerev. So the kerev of the innards of its innards. So ורחצת shall wash you, kirbo, its innards, or the innards of him, is literally what that's saying. Okay, great. Thanks, Michael. Glad to hear it. Continuing. Oh, I just realized what I can put up here. Let's put this up, because usually I put that on when I do the, you'll see. Hope it's a good looking one. Where is it? Where are you? So, maybe that's not going to work. Okay, maybe we won't bother about it. That's fine. I'll continue with it when you guys have questions later. U is and. It's an u instead of a ve because we have the shwa. Then we have a shwa under the kaf. So the word is ukhra'aiv. So the word is kaf resh ayin, which is a leg. Kera'ayim are legs. We drop the mem like of an animal. Okay? And it's kera'aiv, the legs of it, his legs, his legs. And the reason we have the u is because the first letter has an eh under the schwa. And you can't start a word with two schwas in a row. So we have our bump schwa rule. That tells us that a vav will become an u if it comes before, oh, you can't see my pen, it's black. If it comes before a word that starts with a schwa. That's why it's bump schwa. If it starts with a b, m, p, or a schwa, then the vav becomes the u in the word bump. Okay, how you guys doing? Any comments or questions? Aha! That's what I was looking for. Better. Come down here. There we go. I will just Z order myself to the top. Boom. So, thank you for all of my patrons, you guys who are supporting us, the work that we do here monthly. I really appreciate that. That makes a big difference and helps make all this possible. All right, so let's continue on. Maybe I'll move that a bit to the side. Let's see. What's better? See, now I'm hypnotized. Something on the camera is catching my attention. Oh, it's the spoon. It's the spoon for my tea. I'm like, what is that artifact on the screen? Oh, thank you, Michael. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Ja, Harrison, ja. Mir geht's gut. Dank, dank. There is no spoon, right? There is. Yeah, we referenced red pill before, right? So perfect. So, wash its innards, right? The ram's innards and its legs. Ukhra'aiv, its legs. Do you see my pointer? You can't see it, can you? Should go sit now. Do you see now? Yay, there we go. Okay. And now we have a verb. Natato. Natato. So again, the ta reminds us of a ta, you. Just like up above, we had tenatei'ach, you shall chop to pieces. Now we have natato. And the verb is kind of elusive. I drew this kind of glowing purplish looking thing here. That's supposed to be a noon sofit in my handwriting. Usually I just draw a straight stick, right? But I thought you might think it's a vav, so we give the little cusp at the top. So that's the noon because the verb is natan, natan. And in ancient Hebrew, the word would have been natanta. But the noon has assimilated in here, right? Just like we have the old illegal example. The word for illegal in English, it comes from Latin in, and that connected to legal, meaning not legal. And then over time, the N sound in English duplicated, so you have two L's in illegal. Illegal. Same thing here. The N sound from here, sandwiched with the T sound, and then just like the in legal became illegal, the not tum ta became not tut ta. Okay, so that's why there's like a little, that's why there's a dagesh inside. Okay. Hey, shalom Aaron. Good to have you, Achi. So, natanta became natatta. Natata means you gave, or you said, or you placed. It can also be you assigned, you ascribed, all those kind of things. But then if you're watching instead of listening, we have a glowing vav conversive over there. And that guy's telling us to change the aspect. So it becomes, so venatato becomes and shall give or shall place you. So instead of it happened, it shall happen. Right? It will happen. Oh, where were you? How you guys doing? Okay, good. Betty, glad to hear. Okay. Upon or with nitachaiv. Nitachaiv. So that's the nitachayim, the quarters or the pieces of meat. We drop the mem to make it say of. Netate is the quarters of, and then we put the vav in the end, it becomes netataiv. The yellow vav, if you look at the legend, if you're watching, you don't have to if you're auditory, that's telling us there's a pronoun at the end, right? So the quarters are the pieces of him, meaning the ayil, the ram. This guy up here. Ayil. Do you see it? Yeah, you see it. Okay, good. The ayil. Pawn or end with rosho. Rosh, Reish, Aleph, Sheen, meaning head, the head of him. So with its head. Maybe that spoon doesn't need to be here. Put that other way. All right. For the auditory learners, let's scan through one more time. And of course, everybody can as well. Ve'et ha'ayil. Now, don't translate the et. Ha'ayil, the ram, tenatei'ach lengthening. Tenatei'ach lengthening. You shall quarter into its quarters. Okay? Like that. ורחצת, and shall wash you kirbo, its innards, the innards of ukhra'aiv, and vikhar'aim, the legs of him, and its legs, ונתת, which once was ונתן, and you shall place, literally you shall give, and the Hebrew leaves out it there. They sometimes leave out the objects if it's obvious what it is. This happens a lot in the Psalms. Ral, upon or with, netachiv, the netachim, the quarters of of vav, of it, with its quarters, and upon or and with rosho, the head of its head, his head. Oh, great guy. Yeah, I like it too. I like it too. It's nice when the internet cooperates and we can do it live. I'll be right back. Just give me 10 seconds. And we're back. Okay, let's go to the next verse. Actually, I'll read through this one more time without any translation, okay? So just kind of soak it in. ואת האיל tenatei'ach nichau'ach, ורחצת קרבו וכרעיו, ונתת על נתחיו ועל rosho. Right? Exodus chapter 29, verse 18. And I decided, by the way, guys, I know my legend still says verbal and it shows like a mauve color. I decided not to colorize the roots of verbs anymore because I would rather use that color to colorize the things that we attach to a verbal form to make it into a different kind of verbal stem, right? So if you've watched my video, if not, check it out. Here in the playlist, language snippets, it has a menorah as the icon, the little thumbnail, splash screen, whatever. And so if you watch that, I explain using the imagery of the menorah how the binyanim work, how the different verbal stems work in Hebrew. And what's nice about this, if you understand the pattern or can at least recognize it, then you oftentimes, maybe like 85% of the time, you only have to memorize the basic meaning of the verbal root, and then you can produce the other meanings. So it's basically 7 words for the price of 1. So I highly recommend you at least get used to recognizing that. And you can just do it watching the videos with me. I point it out as it happens. All right, so that's what I want to use that for instead. So you'll see it on the first word here in verse 18. I have that color for the hey there. That's what's happening. So let's just scan verse 18, and I think I'll cant this. והקטרת את כל האיל המזבחה olah לאדוני ניחau'ach isheh l'Adonai. All right. Now we'll pick it apart. Let me zoom in a bit for our first word. All right. The first word in white, you can see the root letters if you're watching, or just listen. It's tatar. It's kof or kuf, however you call that. Tet reish. You can think of the country of Qatar. Okay. If Qatar doesn't stop funding terrorism, they're going to be in smoke. So the word Qatar has the idea of like smoky, and or like to smoke, right? To be smoky. This is where we get the noun ketoret. And if you read the Torah, you might be familiar with the phrase ketoret samim. Samim means spices. So ketoret samim, I almost said spamim like spam. Ketoret samim are incense spices, right? They're supposed to go into the air, right? They're supposed to, it's like, ketoret's kind of like aerosolizing, right? Maybe that's better than smoky even. Because we have other words for smoke, ashan and like this. So what the hey does, this shows us it is in the hifil binyan, or the hifil verbal root. So if you look at my video that shows the menorah, the middle is the reflexive, it does something to itself, okay? And then we have kal is the basic one, and then nifal is the passive on the other side of the branch. And then we have piel is intensive, then we have pu'al, like a pu'al. How many fingers do I have? Okay. Pu'al there on the other side of the branch, that's passive. And then we have hifil is the causative. So whatever the basic meaning of the call is, to cause to do the thing. Sometimes to elevate, for the Doctor Who fans, elative. Elevate. I love that when the robot is at the bottom of the stairs and there's some human like mocking him. Advanced being, you're stopped by some stairs. What's he say? Elevate. The Dalek starts floating up the stairs. They go, oh no, they can space travel, but they know how to go upstairs too. Sorry. So it can be causative or elative in meaning. So if you knew already that Qatar has to do with like aerosolizing, right? Or like being smoky. And then you know this is a hifil form. It's to cause to be smoky, right? Okay, so hiktar cause to be smoky, you. Right? But it's perfect, so it's usually a past tense. It's you cause to be smoky. And then we have a vav conversive. Ve hiktar and shall cause to be smoky, you. You shall cause to be smoky. You shall cause to smoke. Smoke them if you got them. Okay, says, yeah. Thank you. Pear likes the original color. Good. It's less distracting too, right? Pear, when we try to get all that mango. Too many colors can, too many cooks ruin the soup, right? All right. And what are we going to make smoky? Et kol ha'ayil. So et is just a definite direct object marker. And then we have a construct chain indicated by the teal box. Kol means all of. Ha is the ayil, ram. So make all of the ram smoky. Make it all smoky is literally aerosolize it. Aerosolize that guy. Okay, so we know what we're doing. Hiktato, right? You are to make smoky. And we're to do it to what? To et kol ha'ayil, to all of the ram. And now how should we do it? How should we do it? Hamizbeichah. So ham is like the, and I actually made a note when I was pre-recording this earlier, though you're watching live now. This isn't pre-recorded because the audio didn't get recorded. Anyway, I'm glad it worked out. So here's my notes that I wrote before when I was recording it. So this is that in legal illegal example I mentioned. For those of you who haven't seen this before or heard this before, in ancient Hebrew, the word for thee was hal, hey lamed, hal, hal. Still existing in Arabic, derived from ancient Hebrew as al, right? Like they'll say al malik, the king, right? But we would say in ancient Hebrew would have been hal melech. And then over time, that lamed, just like the n and in legal became illegal, it also assimilates it. It becomes whatever the letter after it is. So if you're looking, next to me I have ha, and then there's a red glowing dot inside of the mem. That's the lamed, the L from hal, it went inside of there. Okay, so as long as a letter can take a dagesh, this is how we say the usually. We say ha, and then there's a dot in the next letter, showing that there are two of those letters. Okay, because the lamed went inside and made it double. If that letter can't take it, then we do some other things. We change the vowel. We have what's called compensatory lengthening. I won't get into all that tonight. By the way, if all of this is over your head or it's too much grammar stuff, you need to learn to just activate your filter. The vision that I have for these classes after teaching Hebrew for a few decades, on and off over time, is to have people in the Bible, in the Hebrew text, of all different levels. We can be in the same class together, and there's always something for everybody there. That's the idea. So if you're just learning how to read, we've had people learn how to read just from dropping in these immersion classes. That's fine. Okay. If you're at a more advanced level, that's also fine. I try to put something there for everyone. Years ago, when I used to teach biblical Hebrew, the way that I did it, the only requirement I had was that you took on a tutor. I mean, you took on a student of your own, right? Or you would help someone else who's studying Hebrew a couple levels below where you are. So back then, we had at our synagogue, we had alphabet, right, reading, and then we had intro Hebrew, intermediate grammar, advanced grammar, and Torah reading class, like as the advanced Hebrew level, right? And so if you were in, say, intro grammar, you didn't have to teach anything, right? But if you're already in intermediate grammar, you would teach two levels below. So you would either teach alphabet or help someone who's learning alphabet. If you're in advanced grammar, you would teach someone in intro grammar or help someone in intro grammar. If you're in the Torah reading class, then you could teach someone in intermediate grammar or help someone, right? And so I highly encourage you guys to do that. Is the spirit of this ministry is to get more and more people understanding, or at least having access to the Holy Tongue. So it'd be really good. And also when you take on a student, you really learn a lot better. That's how I started teaching in the first place. Tom, I know you come in every once in a while, but one of my old students, Tom, when I was working at TI, he was the tech lead on the project I started at, and everybody would go away to lunch, and I'd be sitting there reading my Hebrew Bible at lunch. I wouldn't go to the cafeteria, I brought my food with me, right? sitting in the cubicle. And he asked me one time, "Is that Hebrew?" I said, "Yeah." He said, do you understand that?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can you teach me?" I said, "No." So I didn't feel qualified to teach, right? I mean, teach somebody, you got to know like everything, right? And he kind of made the point that where we were at in kind of this obscure place in Texas, where am I going to find a biblical Hebrew teacher? And it's not like today where the internet's just full of all kinds of stuff. I thought, okay, well, as long as you don't expect too much. so, and then a bunch of other people on the project, once a week we would come together, and at lunch break I had a little overhead and I'd write on the plastic, we worked through a grammar book. And yeah, so thank you to Tom for that. And then Tom's gone on, he's taught at different places now, biblical Hebrew as well. So, and that kind of started getting in my mind. I realized then after teaching, going through the cycle of teaching, how much better I knew the grammar myself then and understood the patterns. And so it's the same for you. Even if you feel you're struggling, if you can teach your kid or help your kid to learn to read or something like that, it will strengthen how much you know the Hebrew. So I highly recommend that. And please let me know as you're doing that. I love to hear people teaching their grandkids or something, and that's just nice. Yeah, Gary says the best way to learn is to study, to teach. That's right. Angela says, I appreciate the grammar. Thank you. You're very welcome, Angela. Great, great, great. Okay. Yeah, so something else I want to point out, but okay, maybe that's good. I've mentioned before, to learn in biblical Hebrew, the verb is lamad. And then if you put that in the intensive binyan, like the binyanim or what I was talking about, like we have the hay over there that's purpleized, right? It's showing that you're changing the basic meaning of that root somehow. When you put in the intensive binyan, the piel, the intensive form of lamad, to learn, is to teach, limed. Lamad, to learn or to study, limed, to teach, right? So kind of nice, kind of nice. And it's really true. When you teach, you really learn, right? So, all right, let's go. Now there's something happening here. So we have hamizbeichah, the mizbeach, and the mizbeach, the root is zavach. It's Zion. Oops, it went. I didn't want you to go like that. Sorry, I was trying to mark it so you could see Zion. It's Zion beit kate zavach, which is to sacrifice, or in older Hebrew, to ritually slaughter, right? And so, as I've told you before, if you know the verbal root and there's a mem as part of the word at the beginning, you can sometimes just think, well, what is the thing that would help that verb do its thing? So zavach is to sacrifice, and mizbeach is an altar. You sacrifice on the altar, right? So hamizbeichah, the altar. And then we have something funny here. At the end, there's another, hey, look, mizbeichah, hamizbeichah. That is called the hay lokal, Locale, for those of you who want to DuckDuckGo that later. The hay lokal, or the directional hay, in Hebrew, it means kind of the equivalent of English ward. Ward, like let's see. Word. As in homeward, right? I want to be homeward bound, right? Nice song by Two Jews. So if I wanted to put this like being strict with the paradigm into English, hamizbeichah would be the altar word, right? Homeward, the altar word, right? So towards the altar. So let's look at the whole thing again. Hiktalto, and you shall make smoky or aerosolize. Make smoky is better, I think. Et, we don't translate. Kol ha'ayil, all of the ram. Hamizbeichah, toward the altar, or the altar ward, okay, towards the altar. So you make it so the smoke goes towards the altar. Then he says, this is more fun having Rav live. It's like in a real classroom. Baruch Hashem. Hey, shalom, Richard. Richard says, thankful for this class. I'm glad to have you too, Achi. I'm so glad all of you are here. And those of you who can't make it live, in contact later too. Yeah, we were doing it all live, but then weird things were happening with streaming and internet and stuff. So it makes me wary to go live now. Usually our 2-hour-long Shabbat Torah lesson is live, right? How are you going to pre-record that? So if you really, but the problem I know for some of you in the States is it's pretty early. It's pretty early. All right, let's continue. Olah, ayin, lamed, hey, if you're just listening, from the verb olah, not related to the name of the moon god from the religion of Shalom. That's that's with an alif, that's an aleph, right? It's different. This is, olah is to go up, to ascend, right? In modern Hebrew, a ma'alit, well, it's got a mem. What does it mean? I remember my first experience with this in Israel. I was looking at the sign, I thought, oh, that's cool, right? Because it's fun being in Israel with biblical Hebrew and looking at stuff and thinking, what does that mean? So I am Israeli, but I didn't grow up there, so it's not the same experience as the Sabras have. So a ma'alit, it's got the man, and mizbeichah, it's got the man. Mizbeichah is something that helps you zavach, helps you sacrifice, right? A ma'alit is something that helps you to Allah, to go up. It's an elevator. So you really can figure out a lot of stuff. It's pretty fun, actually, getting around in biblical Hebrew in the land. So, and an immigrant is an olah from the same verb. Olah. It's olah. Someone, olah for Jose. It's someone who goes up, right? They're ascending. Because the idea is Israel is the holy land. Everywhere else is not holy, right? You can have lots of holy places, otherwise nothing's holy. Okay? If everything is holy, if every day is Sabbath, no day is Sabbath. Right? If every day is holy, no day is holy. Holy is special, like different, not easily accessible. It's one of the reasons we don't say God's name, because we're commanded to make his name holy, right? So we don't treat it like Bob or something else, because it's different, right? It's supposed to be special. So yeah, so an olah is someone who goes up to Israel, right? And of course, where do you go up? If you're in Israel, you go up to Jerusalem, to Mount Moriah, right? You keep going up, holier and holier. And so when someone leaves Israel, like to go work abroad to make more money or something, they go down. Oh, you're going down. You're going down to France. You're going down to USA. You're going down to Italy. That's kind of interesting. How that stuff is still, even though it's a different dialect, the modern Hebrew, it's kind of cool how that stuff is still trapped in the language. All right. No problem, Ted. Go for it. All right. So, olah is a whole burnt offering. It's called whole burnt because it all goes up. The priest doesn't eat any of it. The offerer doesn't get to eat any of it, like in a shalom offering. Instead, it all goes up. So it's a whole burnt offering. In Hebrew, it's kind of cool. The verb that you use with this is from the same root as well. To offer a whole burnt offering means to make it go up. To make go up a whole burnt offering. So kind of there's some rhyming and stuff going on. All right. It's an olah. Whole burnt offering. Who? A whole burnt offering is who is he? He, because it's a ram, right? So clearly in English you don't want to say he. It is a whole burnt offering. Remember, in Hebrew, we're always thinking like Yoda, right? Whole burnt offering is he. Yes. So it's backwards. Okay. Not modern Hebrew. Modern Hebrew's kind of been influenced by European languages, so it's the order reverses, right? You get the verb, but in biblical Hebrew, we like to say a whole burnt offering is it, right? You go backwards. Think like Yoda. Okay. L'Adonai, to Hashem. A whole burnt offering for Hashem. Rei'ach, nichau'ach. Rei'ach is an aroma, like a smell. And sometimes with Hebrew etymology, the yod and a vav will sometimes swap places. Usually this happens in verbs, hollow verbs, but sometimes with the hifil binyan. You see it sometimes. And occasionally even with nouns, like it probably was a dialectical difference from one place to the other. So the reason is because an ancient vav was actually a W sound, right? It was a W sound. So if this was a vav, it could say, instead of, it could say rei'ach, which is like breath, like the width of something, right? Rei'ach means a smell. Nichau'ach is like a good smell, a pleasing smell, or sweet aroma is how that's traditionally translated. Rashi says that it might be read as ruach, meaning like a feeling, like a pleasing feeling, meaning that Hashem says that I have a ruach nichau'ach, a pleasant feeling when my children obey me. Isn't that nice? I like that better than the whole just blanket smell, right? So dialectically, if rei'ach was ruach in among one of the tribes or something, or maybe someone that they wrote the yod a little bit too long. I mean, they wrote the vav too short. So rei'ach nichau'ach, a sweet aroma, or maybe a sweet feeling. Isheh, aleph, shin, hey. And if you're just listening, you won't see this. I've kind of made the segol, the S sound underneath glowing. Glowing, like it's radioactive or something, to show you that this sound is all that differentiates it from isha. So don't confuse isheh with isha. Isha is a woman, and isheh is a fire offering. This woman's on fire. Oh, sorry. No. No. We're not going to do that. No more of that. Isheh, a fire offering. A fire offering. L'Adonai, who? For Adonai, it is. It is. How are we doing on time? Ooh, wow. That's okay. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, so let's read through one more time, especially for the auditory learners. The hiktir. So, and he shall cause to Qatar. Imagine Qatar smoking because of all the terrorists they've been funding, right? Qatar is smoking. So he shall Qatar, you shall Qatar. What shall you Qatar? Cause to Qatar? Et kol ayil. All of the ayil. Hamizbeichah, the altar, word. Hamizbeichah, the altar word, towards the altar. Hamizbeichah. Okay, and then stop for a second. Olah, olah, and a whole burnt offering is it. L'Adonai, that's for Hashem. Rei'ach nichau'ach, a sweet smell, or a ruach nichau'ach, a sweet feeling. Isheh, a fire offering. L'Adonai L'Adonai a fire offering belonging to the Lord is it. Yeah, listen to what Brenda's writing there. Thank you, admin Brenda. Click that like button. Click the like button. It's so funny. We got close to 6,000 subscribers, and suddenly things slowed way down. We're getting throttled. The brakes. Can't get 6 people in 3 days. I don't know. It didn't really bother me anymore. We're still standing. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to read it one more time. A more moderate speed. And then we'll read through 17 and 18 again, and we'll be done. והקטרת את כל האיל המזבחה, olah לאדוני, rei'ach nichau'ach, isheh לאדוני. Okay. All right, now let's go back to the first one, verse 17. We'll do 17 and 18 and we'll be finished. ואת האיל tenatei'ach nithi'u. Now the ayil you shall nateach, you shall cut into pieces, nithi'u, by its quarters, or for its quarters, for its pieces. ורחצת kirbo, and you shall rachatz, you shall wash, kirbo, the kerev of the innards of ukhra'aiv, and the ker'ayim, the legs of ayil. Venatת, or in ancient Hebrew, ונתת, and you shall natan al netachiv, with its netachim, ve'al, and with rosho, the rosh of the head of yeah, quality, not quantity. There you go. Well, we used to just go too long. Sometimes they go an hour, 15 minutes, and sometimes an hour and a half. Not everybody has that kind of time, right? So I want to make sure everybody, no one's scared or went to, like, oh my gosh, give me another long lesson. All right. Oh, sorry. And I'll just go through 17 quickly and then 18 quickly. ואת האיל תנתח ונתחיו, ורחצת kirbo ukhra'aiv ונתת על נתחיו ועל rosho. Verse 18, והקטרת את כל האיל המזבחה, olah לאדוני, rei'ach nichau'ach, isheh לאדוני הוא. All right, guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for being live. If you missed the live, please leave us a comment down below. I didn't realize the subscribe is right in front of my face. Someone should have told me I would have leaned over here. I see it now over on the feedback. That's well, do this. Do this. Subscribe. All right, shalom, shalom. I'll catch you guys tomorrow as we work through the book of the prophets.